November 2002, a Nissan engineering facility in Yokosuka, Japan. Program manager Hiroshi Tamura stands before a whiteboard covered in production timelines and cost analyses. At the center of it all, circled in red marker, 4 letters, SR20. The room is filled with engineers who've spent over a decade working on the SR20D program, improving it, perfecting it, making it one of the most beloved engines in Nissan's history. And Tamura is about to tell them it's all over. Effective end of fiscal year 2003, all SR20DE production will cease. He announces, no successor engine, no evolution, no replacement. The room erupts. One engineer stands up. The SR20 is selling. People love it. Tuners can't get enough of them. Why are we killing it? Tamura doesn't look at the whiteboard. He looks at a different sheet, a profit and loss statement, because every SR20D we build loses us money. And corporate has decided we can't afford to lose money on an engine that doesn't fit our future. What future? Someone asks. Tamura finally turns around. A future without affordable performance. A future where we build what sells, not what wins. The SR20D doesn't fit that future. This is the story of the SR20D. The engine that proved Nissan could build greatness on a budget. The motor that became a Grassroots legend while Nissan tried to forget it existed. And why killing it was the biggest mistake Nissan made in the 2000s. The engine nobody asked for. To understand why Nissan killed the SR20DE, you need to understand why they built it in the first place. And the answer isn't what you think. The SR20DE wasn't designed to be a performance icon. It wasn't created to compete with Honda's VTEC or Toyota's turbo engines. It was built because Nissan needed a cheap modular engine that could power everything from economy sedans to sports cars. A platform engine. Boring, practical, cost-effective. The SR engine family debuted in 1989 with the naturally aspirated SR20DE, a 2.0 L4 cylinder with DOHC, 4 valves per cylinder, and absolutely nothing special about it. It made 140 horsepower. It was refined, smooth, and utterly forgettable. Nissan put it in everything. The Primera, the Avenir wagon, the Bluebird, cars that nobody outside Japan even knew existed. Fleet vehicles, rental cars, the automotive equivalent of beige wallpaper. But buried in the SR20DE's design was potential. The block was cast iron, overbuilt for a naturally aspirated economy engine. The head flowed well, the internals were stronger than they needed to be, because Nissan's engineers, still riding the high of the 1980s bubble economy, had built-in safety margins just in case. Just in case of what? Nobody knew. Not yet. In 1991, Nissan's performance division looked at the SR20DE and saw an opportunity. The 180S, X, and Silvia were using the aging CA1 8DET, a 1.8L turbo engine that was fine but nothing special. They needed a replacement, something modern, something that could compete with Honda's B-Series and Mazda's Rotary. The solution was obvious. Bolt a turbocharger to the SR20DE, strengthen a few components, add an intercooler, see what happens. What happened shocked everyone. The accidental masterpiece. When Nissan's engineers first bolted a turbo to the SR20DE, they expected maybe 200 horsepower. Something competitive. Nothing crazy. The first dyno run made 205 horsepower at 6,000 revolutions per minute. Not bad. But then someone asked, what if we turn up the boost? At 12 psi, it made 225 horsepower. At 14 psi, it made 245. At 16 psi, it made 265. And the engine didn't complain. No detonation, no unusual temperatures. It just made more power. How high can we go? Someone asked. They pushed to 20 psi, 295 horsepower. The turbo was maxed out, but the engine still running strong. The engineers looked at each other with the same realization. They'd accidentally built something special. The SR20, designed as a boring economy engine, had the bones to be a performance monster. But there was a problem. The 280 horsepower gentleman's agreement, Nissan couldn't advertise more than 280 horsepower, and they were already using that number for the RB26DETT in the GTR and the VG30, DETT in the Z32. So, they did what Nissan always did. They lied. The SR20DET in its first production form in the 1991180S and it was rated at 205 horsepower. Conservative, safe, completely misleading. Because Nissan knew what tuners would find. The SR20DET wasn't making 205 horsepower. It was making 225 to 235 depending on the dyno and conditions. And with minor modifications, it would make much, much more. Nissan had done it again. Built an engine with massive hidden potential and then underrated it to fit their marketing strategy. The engine that defined a generation. Between 1991 and 2002, the SR20DET became the engine of choice for an entire generation of enthusiasts. Not because it was the most powerful, not because it had the most advanced technology, but because it was accessible. You could buy a 240SX in America for $20,000, or a Silvia in Japan for even less. For that money, you got a lightweight rear-wheel drive chassis powered by an engine that responded to modifications like nothing else on the market. Cold air intake and exhaust, plus 20 horsepower. Boost controller, plus 30. Bigger turbo, 300 plus horsepower. Built internals and a proper setup, 500 plus. The SR20D wasn't just modifiable, it was affordable to modify. Whereas building a 2JZ or RB26 to 500 horsepower cost $15,000 to $20,000. You could do the same with an SR20D for $8,000. And it fit everywhere. The SR20 became the engine swap of choice for anyone who wanted turbocharged rear-wheel drive performance on a budget. It dropped into 240SXs obviously, but also Datsun 510S. Roadsters, even Miatas. By 1995, the SR20DE had developed a cult following. Drift teams were building them. Drag racers were building them. Time attack cars were building them. The engine that Nissan designed to be boring and economical had become the foundation of Grassroots motorsport. But in Nissan's headquarters, accountants were looking at spreadsheets, and what they saw worried them. The profit problem, nobody wanted to admit. Here's what most people don't know about the SR20D. Nissan lost money on every single one. The engine was over-engineered for its price point. The cast iron block that made it so durable also made it expensive to manufacture. The DOHC head, with variable valve timing, cost more than the simple SOHC heads Nissan used in their economy cars. The turbo system, intercooler, and reinforced internals added costs that Nissan couldn't pass on to customers. Why? Because the SR20DET competed in the entry-level sports car segment. The 240SX Silvia and 180SX weren't expensive cars. They were affordable performance. Nissan couldn't charge $35,000 for a 240SX when Honda sold the Integra for $25,000, and Mazda sold the RX-7 for $32,000. So, Nissan ate the cost. They sold SR20DET-powered cars at a loss, hoping to make it up on volume. But the volume never came.